Welcome to Stumbling Toward Genius. I'm your host, writing and creativity coach, Cynthia Morris. In this episode, you'll hear how an early experience in my life kind of determined my creative path, and how I finally shook off someone else's view of me to release a part of my true essence. Since I was a girl, I wanted to be a writer. I loved to read, and I imagined myself writing books and living a fabulous life. I didn't really consider myself an artist. That was my sister. Plus, I got an F in high school art. Yes, an F. I could not do accurate perspective in drawing at all, and so I failed the perspective tests and thus got an F. That's certainly not the encouragement one needs to make art. So I focused on writing. As a young adult, I went through the exercises in the artist's way. I took all kinds of classes: drawing, calligraphy, singing, dancing, painting. I loved them all. And I realized that if I wanted to develop my skills, I would need to focus on one medium at a time. So I focused on writing. For decades, I wrote and wrote and wrote. I blogged and wrote books. I became known as a writer's coach, and I helped other people write. But in my creative basement, there lurked my inner artist. She'd been shut away for the sake of focus, but she came out in small ways. She picked up a book called Zen Seeing, Zen Drawing by Frederick Frank. With this book, I came to see drawing and art as a practice, a process of stilling the mind, instead of a way to show that I was good at something. Over the years of writing my novel, I also kept a sketchbook. I took drawing and painting classes. I still had the serious focus on being a good writer. But with the art, I didn't have to be good. It was just a place to play and create and express. I began leading creativity workshops in France. These gave me a way to bring the traveler, the coach, the teacher, the Francophile, and the artist together in one project. The people who came to my workshops were like me. They wanted to have space in their lives for their creativity, because it made them happy, because it made them whole, because whether or not it made them money, it made them them. In 2013, I had published my novel. That project, Chasing Sylvia Beach, had been my number one focus outside of work for 13 years. It took me a while to realize that I was free to focus on any creative project I wanted, that I didn't have to spend all my vacations as writing retreats, that I didn't have to focus on writing, that my inner artist could be released from the basement and given more space, time, and energy. At first, I resisted. OMG. Start over in a new medium? From all my years of writing, I knew how much it takes to learn a craft. But then I realized, wait, I like making art. I love learning. This wasn't a punishment, but a reward. To devote myself to a new craft was a gift I could give myself. But where to start? I'd been keeping a sketchbook and developing my drawing skills. I loved painting with watercolor. I was also drawn to hand lettering. Drawing letters felt like a sort of a bridge between writing and drawing. I wanted to give myself plenty of space to explore, study, and learn. I wasn't concerned with monetizing my art. I loved the freedom of making art and wasn't ready to apply extra pressure to make it for others. So, because learning and personal growth are among my top values, I decided to develop my own curriculum. I dedicated the whole year to my curriculum. Each quarter had a different focus, and I decided what I wanted to study. Drawing, painting, and hand lettering were among the top subjects. I took out dozens of books from the library. I signed up for online classes that helped me learn the things I wanted to learn. This is something that I help clients with when a class or a program or opportunity calls to them. I ask this: what is your focus now? How, specifically, does this class help you meet your goals? Using this kind of reverse engineering of a decision really helps to know whether something's right for you, because so many classes and things sound good and we want to do them, But if they're not aligned with what we're actually trying to do, then it may or may not be a good choice. It felt so empowering to design my own curriculum and to steer my own course of study. But the high school F never left my mind. In my own curriculum, how would I determine my satisfaction? I took a page from Rosamond and Benjamin Zander's book, The Art of Possibility. In this book, they talk about having their students decide what they would have to do to earn their A. What are the criteria that will lead to your own satisfaction? How do you need to show up, and what do you need to do to snag an A? I love how this puts the onus on the student to determine what's good. And I think that when we're plugged into our own motivation and our own criteria, it can help us to be more engaged and more committed than feeling like somebody else is judging us or deciding. I use this in my Atelier program. It's so common for us at the end of the day or the week or the quarter to feel like we didn't do enough, that we could have done or been more. But when we start off by determining our own standard, we can work according to that standard. Being a beginner as an artist helped me be a better coach. I'd been writing for decades and I felt strong in my writing seat. Being a beginning artist helped me feel the same kind of things that beginning writers feel. It gave me so much more empathy for the challenges that we all face. Will we be good enough? What will we make? What the hell are we doing? My friend Marty is a successful environmental designer here in Denver. He designs wayfinding and signage and does branding for nonprofits, cities, and businesses. His mark is all over the city of Denver and the world, including the wayfinding at the Denver Art Museum. Marty and I meet every month to share our sketchbooks and talk about the projects we're making. Lately, he's been in his home studio making sculptures out of sticks and glue and paint. He's having a blast, and the sculptures reflect both his design mastery and his innocence of a kid playing with stuff he loves. He sends me pictures of the sculptures he's making, and the joy just radiates off the screen. It's this kind of innocence that pulls us into our making space, despite how impractical or unserious it may seem. Being a beginner is definitely full of stumbles. As Ira Glass said, it's painful to have good taste and not the skills to match that taste. I made all kinds of bad art. It was inefficient and wandering. But that was okay. I gave myself plenty of time and released any pressure. I loved having this space to explore, learn, play, and color. I shared my process on social media. To me, this foray into a different medium demonstrated the empathy I felt for other beginners. I also got good feedback on my art sometimes, which spurred me on. But in terms of my business, this and other things I did and shared publicly sometimes confused people about my brand. My company, Original Impulse, is committed to the creative process and how it empowers us and enriches our lives. I've always committed to being a working creative. I didn't, and still don't, want to rest on my laurels. I don't want to sit on the sidelines coaching others to take risks. I want to be in the field, making and sharing, creating and daring. If you're like me, you have interests and skills in many media. Being forced to stay with one thing is almost like cutting off a limb. I believe we can create what we want. We can switch media. We can have and enjoy our many talents. And when we're seeking to do something on a professional level, we have to keep in mind what we want to be known for, what we want to do more of, and what we want to be paid for. When we put stuff out there, it becomes part of who we are in the public mind. I believe that when we operate from our core values, whatever we put out there stand a better chance of meeting an audience. I want to be known as a person who takes creative risks, who is deeply immersed in the creative process, and who uses that passion to help others take their own creative risks. Here's what I don't want to tell you. As you heard in a previous episode, the novel had been a real challenge. It was hard work over many years. It had taken a piece out of me. It had robbed me of some of my confidence about my writing. I really needed a break from the seriousness of writing. Making art was a way to play, and it still fuels the joyful, playful part of me. Stepping toward making visual art brought out my play and joyful self. When people looked at my sketchbooks, they always commented on the joyful innocence and the naivete and playfulness that they saw in my pages. This sense of uplifting and not seriousness really helped make me more willing to be a student, starting right from the beginning. I learned how good that can feel to relish the innocence of making and learning. And guess what? My year-long project in the 2020 Atelier will be a return to visual art. It's something that's really exciting to me, and I can't wait to dive in January. So, I make art and I write. I'm a coach and a teacher. I lead workshops in the US and abroad. I am many things, and I have a thriving business. It really doesn't matter if the world can't cope with people who have multiple passions. I entice my genius out by letting all of myself be me. Sometimes it's hard to find focus and support for our passion projects, the things that no one's waiting for yet. We might need a skills class or a class in craft. But sometimes we just need to be working alongside other dedicated creatives. What helps you focus? What helps you get over the absolute insanity that tells you, no, 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 you can't write that book or make that art, or mon Dieu, you cannot build that business? I say, oui, you can. Yes, I have always loved this idea of a working sanctuary where people are focused on something they truly care about. That's why I made a very special atelier for you. In the Original Impulse Atelier, I'm the guide and mentor to help you stay focused on the project that you care about most. But you're not learning a craft, you're learning the ins and outs of your own unique genius, what it takes for you to focus, follow through, and finish the things you care about. The Original Impulse Atelier is a curated group of dedicated creatives where you dive into your passion project. The Atelier begins in January and enrollment just opened. Seats are filling already. If you're curious to know if this is a place for you, head over to originalimpulse.com to read all about it and apply to be considered a member. Your assignment. Today's creative competency is embracing being a beginner. It's not always easy starting at the beginning, especially if you're no spring chicken. But once we let go of our ego, our need to look like we have everything figured out, it actually can be fun to be in the student seat. My guess is that you are a lifelong learner and probably enjoy taking in new information. You might have to set aside concerns about what people will think of you and your new art form. Let them have their thoughts, and you just commit to what lights you up, even if it is a whole new world. Here are a couple of coaching inquiries for you if you'd like to free write on these and get some insights about your own process. What helps you be a beginner? What part of you is ready to emerge that's been locked away for too long? And what permission do you need to be fully you in the world? You don't have to stay in the confines of others' ideas of you. It's never too late to access a nascent part of you, a part that's been with you your whole life, even if it's been hidden in the dusty basement behind rusty old objects. When there's a persistent desire to make something, even if it feels crazy or impossible, you have to follow that urge. Trust the part of you that wants to make things, even if it doesn't seem practical. Let yourself relish the innocence and joy that can be found in being a beginner. Head over to originalimpulse.com/podcast to download this week's assignment. Email me or leave a comment with insights you glean or actions you take as a result of the assignment. You'll find my contact info at originalimpulse.com. Thank you for listening to Stumbling Toward Genius. I hope this episode has helped you find your way toward your own genius and that you bravely take on your creative projects, no matter how much you stumble or how scary it is. Until next time, creative genius, have fun. Oh my God, it's Xavier. Xavier's back. Hello, hello, Cynthia. ¿Cómo ça va? How are you? Xavier, it's great to be with you, but last time you were here, I think you scared some people off about the Atelier, about how hard it is. Oh, you poor little things. Oh, you're so sad. It was so difficult what I said. But it's true, n'est-ce pas? Well, it is true, but I really don't like to focus on how hard things are. But that's what people do, is you try to make everything sound so easy, and then the people get into the work and it's not so easy. It is not a flower field. Well, yeah, but who wants to focus on how hard it is? That doesn't really help. Listen, écoute. In France, here we have this belief about the artiste or the writer. It's a noble pursuit to take up a craft like that and to focus on it and to give yourself to it. And maybe you be good and maybe you not be good, but in the end of the day, at the end of your life, you're going to be happy that you did something with it, right? I couldn't agree more, and that's why I do what I do. I don't worry too much about how great someone's going to be or whether it's going to make them good or not. It's really just honoring that impulse, that original impulse to make something that makes a difference in your life now. The kind of integrity that you get when you do that is just off the charts. Exactement. That's it. That's why I believe in this and why I believe in you. But listen, I've got to go. I've got to go meet some friends. We are going out tonight. Well, okay. Thanks for coming by. Bye, Xavier. Au revoir. À la prochaine.